Welcome to The Dot, the podcast that brings you closer to the heart of healthcare at Wyandotte Memorial Hospital. I'm your host, Josh Messersmith, here with my co-host, Jenna Smalley, and in each episode, we dive into the incredible services WMH provides to our community. As we wrap up this year, we are excited to reflect on the highlights and big moments that have shaped our journey. From inspiring stories to the accomplishments and challenges that have defined us this year, we'll be discussing it all. Joining us today are two special guests, the Chief Operating Officer at Wyandotte Memorial Hospital, Kendra Noyes, and Danielle Pinard, our Chief Nursing Officer. And they're going to share unique insights and experiences from this past year. But as we reflect, we also want to focus on something close to our hearts, giving back. This season reminds us of the importance of supporting our communities, sharing what we have, and making a positive impact wherever we can. The Dot is here to empower you with the knowledge that you can make a real difference in your life in the community. So whether you're here to relive this year's best moments or find inspiration and ways to give back, we're glad that you've joined us. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and tune in as we celebrate a season of gratitude, generosity, and growth here at Wyandotte Memorial Hospital.
Welcome to the show now. We'll dive in deep. Your health and the wellness in your hands to keep. Tips and tricks to know now. Stories that inspire. Living life with knowledge, set your mind on fire. Tune into the Dot. Health from head to toe, together we'll unlock the secrets you should know.
Kendra and Danielle, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We're so excited to have you, and we're really excited to kind of do the year wrap up, to know the impact that we've made here in our community, and then also talk a little bit about being able to give back, how we can really engage with the community, make an impact locally here, and definitely, at the end of the day, impact our patients. So first question, and I'm going to ask Kendra directly this one. What, in your opinion, is the biggest accomplishment that the hospital has had in the last year?
I would say that we are still continuing to meet our patients where they are in their healthcare journeys. We've been able to expand our service offerings to new locations, new communities, and even bring in new areas as well.
Danielle?
I would say our biggest accomplishment has been our acute stroke ready hospital accreditation. Not only was this something that included nursing, but it kind of covered all multidisciplinary departments. And so that would be my biggest achievement and something I'm proud of.
Kendra, you talked about, meeting our patients where they are and expanding our opportunities to those local communities. So what are those other major expansions that we've had?
We had the carry office that opened this year. We did open our new urgent care location that also includes a retail pharmacy. And that is not too far from the hospital, but again, a different location. That also includes Sherry Klaus moving to the New Regal office. So we were able to maintain that office in Seneca County. And now we have Dr. Robbie Puckett in Marion.
Expansions. You talked about meeting our patients where they are, about how we can, how we've opened and maintained some of those offices. So can you talk a little bit about, keeping Sherry in New Regal, the new carry office that we had, the pharmacies that we've had? Just talk about a little bit more about the expansions that we've had throughout the last year.
So Sherry Klaus is located in New Regal. We plan to remain in that location. She sees all patients, and Monday through Friday, her office is open. So we hope to continue our service offerings in that location as well as Marion. We have Dr. Robbie Puckett in that location, but he will be coming back to Upper Sandusky, and he'll be located at our Tarhee office in the near future.
I think probably the one thing that you forgot, my favorite expansion that we've had is that digital sign out at Church Street. I absolutely love that we're able to have, more display ads up there rather than those one fixed things that we have there. So I know you love it. I know the community really loves it. And the fact that we're able to do that and thank you for that. But Danielle, one of the biggest expansions I think you guys have had in the last year, kind of in your world, is ICU. So talk a little bit about moving ICU and why that was important.
Yeah, so we moved our ICU up to closer to the med-surg nurses station to provide that support to our ICU nurses. In the past, they were kind of in the back alone. When you have a critical patient, it makes things a little difficult to get the help that you need. And so we wanted to really bring them up to have that support. We expanded to 4 rooms, all private rooms with negative airflow, really top grade medical equipment to ensure that we have the needs for our patients.
And correct me if I'm wrong, But some of that was paid by donations through our foundation. So there was a ICU fund or a CCU fund established by Kendra. Help me with the provider that was.
Dr. D.P. Smith, he was a longtime resident of Wyandotte County, as well as was instrumental in actually creating our ICU in the very beginning stages many years ago.
I think that's one of the really unique things about us here is a lot of the projects that we're doing are donor funded and donor supported. So our community has a really large investment in what it looks like for their hospital. I talk about it. I've talked about it on the past few podcasts that being a local independent hospital is a double-edged sword because we have to operate like a business, but also we are community focused. So we're doing what's best for the patient every single time. And no matter where, you both know, wherever we go, you're told the good, bad, and the ugly. Whether we're Walmart or in the hallways, we're hearing it from our patients, which is great for us to be able to reflect on. But it's also really nice to see the engagement and the support that our community gives to us. So, thank you.
Danielle, I have a question about the acute stroke ready accreditation. Can you kind of explain what that is and what it does for the hospital?
We decided to go acute stroke ready to really elevate our best practices, ensure that we're following what best practices are to take care of our patients. Not that it's nothing that we always didn't do before, but just making sure there are things that, in addition to our normal day to day of taking care of a stroke patient, that are requirements through our acute stroke ready. So we decided to take this leap. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hours put into it, but something that we're all very, very proud of.
And so, acute stroke ready, Danielle. How does that tie into our telestroke opportunity that we have for the patients here too?
Yeah, so we partner with OSU for our telestroke to evaluate our patients to determine if they're having a stroke, a TIA, or if it's something different. They were instrumental in that acute stroke ready accreditation with assisting us in that.
So we worked with so it really was through partnerships
Yes,
that we were able to do this.
yes.
And so correct me if I'm wrong. We have telestroke,
Mm-hmm. Tel-
teleburn,
Teleburn.
tele
We
ICU,
we just started our tele ICU and we're getting ready to start our telepsych program.
which is so why are those important? So we offer a variety of it's really a la carte any type of service that you want here, but why are those telehealth options so important?
It allows us to expand our opportunities for our patients and make sure that when they come through our doors that we have those services to provide that we may not have without those partnerships.
And so what that means is we are truly aligned with OSU.
Yes,
We're not a part of OSU.
correct.
We still are an independent hospital here in Wyandotte County, and there's no, everybody always says, "Oh, OSU is coming in" or something like
Mhm.
that. No, we're definitely aligned with them, and there are some benefits to being there rather than kind of on our own.
I think those partnerships are extremely important no matter what facility you're working at. I mean, you can't succeed without a partnership. So,
And as an independent hospital, I think it's even more important for us to have those partnerships
mhm.
so that we're able to keep our patients who often are our friends, our families, and our community members right here. So they're able to stay here at their homes.
All right, so we talked about wins. What about challenges? What challenges did our organization see over the last year, and what are some of the ways that we overcame that?
I think Danielle and I will probably say the same thing, and it'll be staffing.
Yep.
As all organizations are facing staffing struggles after the pandemic with burnout, it's real and it happens everywhere. And I think that would be our biggest struggle. And I'll kind of let Danielle take that one.
Yeah, I would agree. I think staffing is our biggest struggle. I don't think we're alone in that. So it's imperative for us to really think outside the box on how we can recruit new people, but then also retain our current staff.
And so Danielle, one of the things that I think is really great that we're going to be able to utilize to recruit new nurses is your nurse residency program. So can you talk a little bit about how impactful that is and how you kind of went about doing that?
Yeah, we decided to start our nurse residency program here in 2025 to really ensure that we are providing that support to not only our new grads, but any new nurse coming in with less than 2 years of experience. We are finding, they want to make sure that when they come to not only a small hospital, but any hospital, that they have the support that they need. So this will be a 12-month program that any new nurse or nurse less than 2 years will go through. They'll work alongside our staff educator to ensure that not only are they doing hands-on classwork, but they're also doing stuff with our simulation mannequin.
Is a nurse residency program typical at large organizations, like, or is it unique to our size of hospital?
I would say years ago, yes, it started, and it's kind of trickled down because it is kind of the standard now. So we needed to make sure, even though we're small, that we're providing it to our employees as well.
Pivoting a little bit off of the nurse residency program, training our nurses, training our staff. Can you talk a little bit about the staff education position that has been relatively new this year too? That Ashley has really been able to expand and really educate our staff to, I want to say, new tips and tricks on best practices. So every nurse, every medical assistant, PCA, I think even Jenna or I could go and be CPR certified if we wanted to be,
Yes.
so that way we're all ready for any situation that happens here.
We really have expanded our education program. Not only, like Josh said, have we do we offer it to our clinical staff, but also our non-clinical staff. For example, our AHA, our American Heart Association program, really has grown to where anyone can get CPR if they so wish. We've also expanded our skills days with our mannequin. It's allowed us to really do hands-on, true life experiences that we didn't have before. We've also expanded it to the community. We now have offered many of classes, including our stroke classes. We've also offered some cardiac classes to the community to help them grow as well.
I think one of the themes and constant motifs that we have here at the hospital, at our organization, is community, and we are very much community centric. And everything that we do, we're always thinking about Mary Jo. So how does the decisions that we make impact Mary Jo Wyandotte, and are we giving the best quality decision making and the best quality care to, Mary Jo? And so you talking about us being able to do those different things for our community, I think that is something that we've expanded
Yes.
in recent time, is more community involvement and really being that pillar and that catalyst for change in our community, because we are a big player here. Everybody, we're a small rural community, and we do have the opportunity to make impactful change. And I think that's one of the reasons that I most was attracted to come here, was because we can make a change for my neighbor, for my family. I have an opportunity to truly make a difference there.
All right, Josh. So I have a question for you. Since I am fairly new to the organization, I kind of just want to understand like the way the hospital has been involved in the community and been able to give back to the community as an organization.
Like I said, I truly believe that hospital has the ability to be the catalyst for change, and we really can be that player. So as we're looking to 2025, it's, in my opinion, one of my goals is 2025 is the year of partnerships. So how can we work together with different organizations and different individuals that we truly can make a difference, not only for us, but we can do something and have a partnership that's mutually beneficial. So it brings to mind of this grant that we're applying for, where we're bringing in those outside organizations to be able to help us execute and make a difference, not only for ourselves, but maybe we can do something that helps the health department or helps the schools or helps somebody else. I think being able to be a part of the community in that sense has changed a little bit in recent times, because we're starting to look outside of our four walls, and how can we really be a change maker here. And we have to continue to stay relevant in an industry where we can become extremely irrelevant very quickly. And the way that you do that is you partner, you make connections, and you start to build the trust in the community that we're here for you. We're here to work for you, and work with you, not just kind of be here when you need us. You can be here all the time. So
Well, and I think a lot of those relationships have already started. We've had many of those partnerships over the years. It's just really expanding upon them as much as we possibly can. And I think that you'll see in some of the things that we've recently done with the health department, with the harm reduction machines, that was a great opportunity for us to really look at a different um, group of patients or a need that we may need to address, and being able to assist in that was great.
To kind of piggyback on that, I would say in partnerships, one of my goals for 2025 is to really get involved with the schools for the CPR as well as Stop the Bleed. It's something that I think would be very beneficial, not only for the teachers, but also for the students to walk out of high school and have that education.
But Danielle, no, you're completely right. I think one of those areas that we do have room to grow with is in, it's a little self-serving for me since I'm on the board. But expanding services to the schools, and especially our small rural schools that we have here, not everybody can have everything. And so if there's a service that the hospital offers, it benefits the schools to kind of split that and be able to, come in and have those trainings. Everybody should be stop to bleed certified. Everyone should be CPR certified because you never know um, what type of challenge the teachers are going to have. One of the things too that this just made me think of that is we recently have those harm reduction vending machines that have been put at our 3 locations. One of the big pushes within the state legislature right now for schools is Narcan training for teachers. And it's a very touchy subject, and I understand that. But if we can, in my opinion, and I want to hear what you guys have to say, I think if we're able to allow our teachers to have as much opportunity and as much training as possible, it doesn't hurt anyone. You know, because at the end of the day, you want to do what's best for students, and you want to make sure that we're able to provide they're able to provide the best education experience, but also the safest educational experience possible.
I would agree with that. And I know that we have reached out and been working with the schools on a number of those trainings. Danielle and I have been talking to a few people, and they're open to those trainings. So we will continue this year to move forward with all of that.
I really want to talk about future goals. So we did a lot of great expansions this year. We've done a lot of impact this year. It's going to be hard to do that again next year. So what does 2025 look like, and what impact are we going to be able to make in 2025, and what impact do we want to continue making in 2025? Kendra.
I will say some of the things, of course, we can't hit on everything because we'll be here all day, are, continue our partnerships and expanding those as much as possible. We do have some area to grow with our mental health service line, and that is part of the grant that we are looking into and potentially offering mental health counseling services. That's something Danielle and I have been working together as we've had kind of a gap in some of those services recently. So I would say probably continuing those partnerships for sure. But then looking at what our needs are within our community. We recently just did a health needs assessment. So looking at the results from those and really looking and planning for the future of what our community needs.
I would agree with Kendra on the mental health. It truly is a issue that everyone is going through right now. And so, really making sure that we're providing those services to patients in need is important. I would say also for 2025 in my world, the ER is looking at pediatric readiness. This is something that, is ensuring that we are ready to take care of any pediatric emergency that comes through our ER. Yes, we may not be able to admit them, but we can for sure stabilize them and transfer them to where a tertiary facility where they can get the care that they need. We're also looking at a hospital accreditation. That is a huge undertaking that we are looking at starting in probably April of 2025.
Just because we're not seeing new buildings being erected, we're not seeing flashy, things being pushed to the community, it doesn't mean that we're not advancing and innovating and setting the stage for sustainability. 2025, I think we'll have some of those. We're definitely going to have some of those touchy feely, those things that you can see. But there's going to be a lot of kind of things that maybe they're going to feel it, but they're not necessarily going to see that.
Yeah.
It definitely will be something I think will be interesting. I'm excited. I know Jenna is excited for us to be able to tell those stories and be able to they may not be able to see it, but if they listen to this, they can hear about it. So
It'll be a lot of internal growth that you'll be able to showcase, and I think that'll be great.
I think there will be a lot of behind the scenes stuff growing that people aren't going to be able to see.
Okay, so Danielle, can you talk a little bit about the priority project and why it's important and why we chose that?
Yeah, our priority project this year is recliners for our inpatient unit. We decided to go this route to ensure that our patients are comfortable when they are admitted. It really will provide a healing environment so that they can rest and focus on their health.
So when we were choosing this project, I don't know if you walked around with me or not, or if I went with just Amy, but we were walking through the unit and I was like, can I see a chair? Like I haven't been in an inpatient room to know what the current recliners look like. And we're going through it and we find one and she's like, yeah, sit down. I'm like, oh, it looks great. And then I sit down and I'm like, oh, it's a little different. Yeah.
Steph.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so been talking with some patients that were on the floor that day, talking with, the foundation's board, talking with the leadership team here. It really does sound like that is a priority project that we need that isn't just a one-time feely thing. It's something that's going to impact the patient's stay and maybe not just the patient's stay, but also the family or loved ones that are coming in to visit them too. And maybe they're staying the night. So they're fully electric. They're leather. They're a plushy, more of a soft
Yes.
chair. We have one now, and what I'm excited to do is put it in the lobby for people to see. When you come in, you can sit in it, you can see the project that you're giving to, and kind of feel what it's like.
Mm.
I think one thing that we're gonna have to do at some point is pull out one of the old chairs, so
Okay.
that way they can see like, oh, this is kind of like the Cadillac version of something because it's great that we're able to do that and give it back to our patients.
Yeah. Well, currently our chairs aren't electric, so they have to manually put them down. And I think one of the biggest complaints that we've heard from patients is, oftentimes they're weak, so they don't have the strength to push and pull the legs up and down. And so, one of the nice features about the new recliners is that the sides of the recliner will break away. So if you need to pull a patient over to the bed, it's just an easier transfer for them.
And I think one of the really nice things is we kinda did a little test with it up
Mhm.
in our oncology and infusion, area. The foundation and the community was able to raise funds and get the similar type of chair for our infusion patients. And Kendra, you work with them every day. What's the feedback from those patients?
Those patients love those chairs. Especially when you're sitting in those chairs for hours on end receiving treatment. You can put your feet up easily and you can have massage. There's heat in those chairs. They're just a lot more comfortable, especially when you're spending hours
Yeah.
and hours in them.
There's
And
even a phone charging
Yes. Yeah.
port, so if they're there for hours, they have the opportunity to charge their phone.
so Danielle, how many are we getting again? 13?
I believe there's 18.
Oh, 18.
Yeah, we're
Good,
getting
good.
one for every single room.
So yeah, so one for every single room. Does that include ICU also?
Yes.
Oh, that's extremely nice.
Yeah.
Um, they'll be able to sit in there and navigate around with that, and no matter what, it's not like you have to like pick and choose what room you want to get into. Everybody will
They'll
get
all have the same.
will get a chair. That's
Yep.
really nice. I want to talk a little bit about the patient experience that this will be able to have too, because I think working with patient experience, one of the things that we hear are that those chairs are always kind of the source of friction that we hear about quite a bit is, oh, it wasn't comfortable, or I just had a knee replacement and I can't get the leg down, or the footrest down. So um, I really hope that this helps with those type of feedback too, that we'll be able to not have to answer those concerns anymore because everyone's going to be able to navigate the chair a little better. So as we're talking about, patient experience and what that looks like, Kendra, do you have any feedback about what that kind of looks like for our organization too?
I do, especially when it comes to purchasing these recliners. I think it's going to help because unfortunately, you come to the hospital and we promote rest and healing, but there's a lot that happens during that period of time. There's a lot of noises. There's a lot of different people in and out of your room. It's very difficult to actually rest. So having a more comfortable chair for not only our patients and our families, I think will help some of the patient experience that we face a lot.
I think that's really nice because this year also, I mean, circling way back, one of the things that we rolled out again or really made prevalent this year was our quiet hours because quiet hospitals encourage healing. That whole campaign that we did, this kind of really ties into that getting back to our roots of we really want to create a more holistic healing environment for our patients.
So we've all kind of talked about like how great the chairs are going to be for the community and patients within the hospital. Josh, can you tell me like how individuals can get involved with the campaign?
So absolutely. I mean, I would hope that anybody that's listening to this is following us on social media, because we are constantly putting things out on social media. You can go to our website, but also one of the things since we just recently got that sample chair in, one thing that's going to be really nice that I talked a little bit about already is we're going to have it displayed in the lobby. So it's sometimes hard to kick the tires, and know kind of what you're giving to. The marketing materials, Jenna, that you make are great and they look amazing. But if you can come in and you can touch and feel it, it just has so much more of a different impact. So having that displayed in the lobby, having it promoted to come in and see it and be able to know kind of what you're giving to, will be really nice. But also, I think sometimes there's a misconception that if you can't write a check or donate toward the campaign, that you can't be involved. There are so many opportunities within the hospital and within our foundation to be involved outside of just giving monetarily. Volunteer opportunities, coming in and hospice volunteering, sitting with patients, stuffing envelopes, sending mail. That type of stuff is impactful, and just in my opinion, just as impactful as giving money. Time is a great resource, and as we talked about staffing issues earlier on, volunteering, giving back in that way is just as impactful as monetarily giving. So I think there are going to be looking at the 2025, there's going to be a lot of different opportunities for people to be able to give back in different ways. I think everything runs on a cycle. And so we look back into, I'm going to call them the archives of the foundation. And so there was events, and we got kind of away from events for a minute, but looking at re-engaging some of those events and what does our community want, and maybe we can do an event that doesn't only impact the hospital, but we can bring in some of those other organizations to work with us. And so it's, instead of us all asking the same person for money, maybe we can create a partnership and a cohesive event that everybody can benefit, and they're not consistently being asked by 100 different people 100 different times to give $100. So it's something that we definitely can do a little different looking into 2025.
So, Josh, you kind of mentioned like engaging local businesses and organizations. Can you share like how partnerships with those local businesses or organizations have enhanced the campaign this year?
Absolutely. I think one of the most recent, and Danielle and Kendra, you both are there. One of the partnerships that we have that has been kind of a long-standing partnership is with the Elks. The local Elks organization that we have here is extremely generous to our annual campaign, but also our foundation in general. And so those partnerships are what we're able to kind of get back to, foster that a little more, and see how we can work together to not only move our mission, but see if we can do something that also helps them. We have a great opportunity here to be able to impact and engage our staff. So some of those events that the Elks are doing or that the school is doing, we're able to share with our staff. And there's 500 people, that we have kind of right at our fingertips that we can help by doing that. But one of the things that we're doing a little different for this annual campaign is we're engaging businesses a little different. So we're giving them an opportunity to sponsor the priority project in a different way. So if there are thresholds, and within those different tiered thresholds, you get some different benefits. I think the top tier, I can't remember all of the benefits off the top of my head, but one of them is a VIP tour of the hospital. I think one of the things that everybody always talks about is like, well, what does the OR look like? And it's like, well, we can show you. Obviously, not during the day, but we can schedule some time to get in there and see those things because our local business do want to see that. And they don't want to just only have to see it when they're coming in for a surgery. Maybe they want to see what it looks like in there. And that helps us build that sense of community, and that sense of pride, not only that we have, but that the local bank can have pride in our surgery center. The local school can have pride in our wellness center. It's those type of opportunities that we're able to do that I think we're just engaging businesses a little differently. And it's not to say that what we used to do was wrong. I just think there's room for us to pivot and maybe add a little value to them, instead of them just kind of always adding value for us.
I think the success of our hospital is dependent upon those relationships. I think it's imperative moving forward that we continue to build those relationships. Otherwise, kind of what are we here for? Our patients, of course, but it's imperative that we really do expand those partnerships moving forward.
I always used to say at my former organization that sport is the catalyst for change. And so I really believed that. And I talk about all the time that I drank the Kool-Aid. I truly believed that I was changing the world every single day when I went to work. And so I came here, and Danielle, you weren't in the interview I was in, but Kendra was in there. And one of the questions I was asked was, well, how are you going to be passionate about wound care? And I mean, the answer that you are supposed to give, which I did give, was, I think that I can become passionate about anything. It's all about serving patients, blah, 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 blah. You say all those things to get the job. And then I get here and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to be passionate about wound care? And so as we're here, I'm like, again, this is the only healthcare organization that I have been at. It's much different here because it's just not wound care. It's wound care, but it's also for my grandma. It's wound care that leads, from the ER. It's related to my family. It's related to the community. So it's deeper, and so you're truly making a change. I believed I was making a change at my former organization. I know I'm making a change here. And we know that we're all making a change because we could see it every single day. That's what I'm most excited. I get weird on this because I love talking about it. I think we get sometimes ingrained in the idea that like it's heavy, but we're doing such a great thing. We're doing such a great job here. We're making such an impact.
I think it's hard not to be passionate about wound care with Dr. Fadia. I mean, she's the most passionate woman that I have ever met when it comes to wound care. So it's impossible not to be.
Absolutely. I think it was I think Matt asked me that question.
It was me.
Oh, was it you?
It was me that asked because I said, it's easy to be passionate about the glitzy glamour, pretty things, kind of like med spa,
Yeah.
for example. But then how do you pivot quickly from doing something like med spa to wound care that is equally just as important, if not more so, due to the nature of that illness sometimes.
And as I'm sitting there spiraling, like, oh my God, who asked this question? And how am I going to spin this answer to be right? Um, but I think it was, I learned very quickly that it's like, oh, I can't necessarily maybe have the same passion for everything, but you have to be passionate about the organization. And if you're not passionate about it, then you got to really self reflect. Which is really great. What a new year, new me, right? But it's going to be a new year, the same me. So everyone get prepared. So to close some stuff out, I just want to finish by talking about personal reflection. So I want to know, what was your biggest personal achievement this year? Danielle, we'll start with you.
Okay. I think my biggest personal achievement was really growing the nursing division. We have many new directors that have come on, and really seeing the success that they are having and the relationships that they are building has been just astronomical to me. I think we're finally headed in the right direction. Not that we weren't before, but there's definitely just that bonding that the nursing division has had over the last couple months.
Kendra.
I would say personally, seeing the teams here really working together, especially through Acute Stroke Ready, was great. We are a small family here sometimes, so it can be heavy, as you said, but they're doing great things here every single day, and to be a part of that is amazing, and to be able to share that story in the way that you're continuing to share our stories for our not only our patients but for our staff that are here every single day doing the real work. That's amazing.
I will say that, coming from another hospital previous to here, the thing that I love the most about Wyandotte is that we truly are a family. We fight like family sometimes, but we are the first to step up and have each other's back in a time of need or in a difficult situation. So it really is a family here.
Jenna.
I would agree with Danielle. Like, I think it's definitely a family environment, which is important because when you come somewhere, it's not like you don't want to feel like you're going to work every day. It feels like you're coming to see your family, and that I mean, it's easy to come to work when you have that type of attitude about it.
Really quick. So when I was my mom and dad growing up always said like, work hard, it'll be successful, blah blah blah, and find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Like you said, it can be, or I mean, I said it too. It can be heavy some days, and 100% we can fight like family. But I think at the end of the day, knowing we're all championing toward the same message is what's impactful. And so I will tell you, there have been days where this has been a job, but for the most part, it truly is fun. And so Jenna, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off about what is your personal growth?
So you guys obviously talked about clinical things. I'm not on the clinical side, but I think a personal growth that I have accomplished this year would be social media. I've talked to Josh about how it's just grown, the amount of followers, the amount of engagement that we've had. I think just being involved and actively posting things, that relates to the hospital, showcasing those big achievements that we've had within the past year has really helped people just become aware of the things that the hospital is doing.
I would agree, and I think you've done a great job, Jenna, and it goes back to meeting our patients where they are.
Absolutely.
And social media is a huge portion of that too.
As well as like newspaper, like we do that like part of our department. Jill and I work pretty closely to kind of coordinate like newspaper stuff, things that are going on within the hospital. We don't only put it on social media, but as well as in the newspaper to reach those different demographics of people.
I probably an area of growth for me probably could be to tell you how good the social media is. I just can kind of expect more and more and more and more, because we are making extreme strides. And so I get excited about the way that we're going. But Jenna, and Kendra is completely right. You're doing a great job with the social media. I'm selfishly thankful because everyone always tells me like the social media posts look so good. And I'm like, I know. And it's Jenna. So,
We love Jenna. We'll do.
but
And Jill. Everyone's great. Yeah. Great team.
we really do. And I think it's really nice. And that kind of ties into how this isn't really a job because the team that I work with, and including you all, I mean, not just my direct team, but also our executive leadership team, being able to work together and have those crucial conversations, but also have that extreme respect for each other that we know, like at the end of the day, we may not agree we may not agree on a decision or on a topic, but we can get through it and see each other as humans and not dislike each other because we disagree. So I really like that. One of my personal achievements this year, I think, is probably the podcast. I know it's a sense of stress for Jenna every single time that we do this, but I think it is a great opportunity for us to think outside the box. I love being creative and innovative and doing different things, and that's what's going to allow us to stay creative. And so I really like the idea of us doing this, and it's a different platform for us to do stuff. It's fun. I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase the providers, the services that we offer, but it also allows those providers to interact with Jenna and I. So we're just not the person that's sticking the social media post on or bothering them for a headshot. We're able to kind of humanize that a little bit. So to pivot a little bit off of that, what was your biggest challenge or obstacle? And then how'd you guys overcome it, Kendra?
I would say again with the staffing, if we're going to talk about workplace, it would be the staffing, of course. And I think working with Danielle throughout all of that and, looking at agencies if we had to, but also we've started sharing staff across multiple departments now, and that has helped tremendously.
Danielle?
I would agree. Staffing is definitely the most difficult thing that we continue to face, and I don't foresee that changing, to be honest with you, in 2025. I think if we can start cross training a little bit more and utilizing everybody within the facility to the department of the need that at that time, then it will be helpful. But I do think we need to continue to think outside of the box on how we're going to pull people in. We're not alone, it's everywhere.
Absolutely. I think you're seeing it everywhere, literally that. And even in like the manufacturing world, everybody is struggling with staffing. Everybody is struggling with employee morale sometimes. I think that's one of the things that we're not necessarily struggling with the most. But I do think that sometimes the staffing opportunities can be a little better for us. So probably one of our biggest obstacles that we have navigated fairly well this year is when we're doing those creative marketing pieces or elevator wraps, for example, we put one up and now everybody wants one, or a billboard. Everybody wants one. It's like everybody can't, we don't have that many elevators or we don't have that many billboards. Everybody will get one. Just give us time. We're not leaving anybody out on purpose. So I think sometimes, and one of the things that we'll do better is communicating that probably in the new year that like, hey, your billboard's going up in 2 months. We didn't forget about you, that type of stuff. So I think that's probably our biggest obstacle too.
Yeah.
So final thoughts. Is there anything that you wanted to leave in the year with? This is the last podcast of the year. Is there anything that you would like to say about a year wrap up or obviously we encourage everybody to contribute to the annual campaign?
I would agree. I think contributing to the annual campaign, looking at ways to help, no matter if it's here or even within our community, we have to give back to our community in any way that we can. If there's anything that anybody needs or wants us to look into, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. We all are available and open and want to serve in the best way that we can.
The one thing I'm disappointed about in this podcast is that I didn't get TikTok into it somehow.
Well, we can talk about work-life balance and how we all need TikTok to help us through.
So shameless plug, if you listen to the mental health podcast, Tiffany and I talk about that.
About
And how you're not
scrolling.
You're not supposed to be TikTok is okay, but not for the 6 or 8 hours that sometimes I do it for. So
That's disappointing.
well, I know. I'm like, well, I guess I'll cut to 7. Like I'll make a little bit of a change. But no, I want to thank you both for coming onto the podcast, being a part of this new kind of idea that we have here at the hospital. And so thank you for giving your opinion, for really coming down here, entertaining us. But thank you so much for everything you do, not only for us here, but also for our patients in our community. You both truly, and I'm not just saying this because you're on here and you're looking at me. I truly believe that you two and the rest of our executive team and everybody here at the hospital is making a difference, and we're truly making positive strides to be impactful for our community and our patients. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having us. Hopefully, now that we know what to expect, you'll ask us back again.
I agree.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up this year's recap episode. We've taken a look back at all the twists, turns, and triumphs of the past 12 months, celebrating the milestones and acknowledging the challenges. It's been quite a journey, and we couldn't have done it without the support and engagement from each of you. Your feedback, your stories, and your connections we've built make all of this possible. As we head into the new year, let's keep the momentum going, learning from the past and looking forward to what's ahead. We have some exciting episodes and new ideas in the works, and we can't wait to continue growing with you. Thank you for being with us on this journey, and cheers to many more stories, more insights, and more inspiration in the year to come. Until next time, stay healthy, stay informed, and take care of each other.
Secrets you should know.